How could 2020 possibly get worse? The China-India border situation going from a standoff to a full-on shooting war. And then Pakistan gets involved to aid China. Man, it's gonna be a three-way nuke war. Oh jolly. Wait, why is it so cold out there? And thanks to radioactive fallout, we all lose. Who wanna play Fallout? Flash bam alakazam. Well, in the case of my country, Chile, we had massive protests since October, government handled it pretty bad and our economy crippled. Now with the pandemic, again the government mishandled it, and we are having a pretty nasty second wave of infections. Only thing that would make things worse would be one of our recurrent earthquakes. Chile is known for having devastating earthquakes every 10 to 15 years. Last big one near the capital was around 10 years ago. If government mishandles it again, our economy may hurt in an irreparable way. Edit, Kagumi inbox CSM edit 2, Pridnantofa, no fue mi intención ser yeta. Hey! Another Chilean here. And yeah, that's the worst I can imagine here. I'm not Chilean, but I lived there for a while and it's been hard to see all the issues happening there. It's hurricane season. And wildfire season. And tornado season. And duck season. Rabbit season. Duck season. Rabbit season. Duck season. Rabbit season. Some sort of large-scale electrical failure would be the icing on the cake. Oh, please not that. Quarantine plus no internet would suck so much. That would be great. Sure, I wouldn't be able to work, but it'd stop getting bombarded with bad news, and it'd finally have no excuse to not read and exercise more. I'm in Oz and would surely die from the heat. Me too. We would literally have to evacuate north. A proxy war between any two nations' nuclear powers that turns nuclear. More specifically, since everybody's asking, China versus India like what's going on right now, or the US versus Iran or Saudi Arabia versus Iran. And finally, American Civil War II. I nominate Vatican City and Monaco for the war. Liechtenstein versus Andorra. My God, the death toll could be in the dozens. That's their whole population, sir. How many populations are we talking about? 234. We find evidence of alien life, but it's like the assimilating one from the thing. A world war? World War V. A war so intense it skips over 3 and 4. YouTube Rewind. Can't wait to see 2020 at Rewind, to be honest. Intro starts with Will Smith coughing "Gah." While standing in Australia, that's hot. And looking at Iran with a telescope. If we were stuck in a 2020 time loop. Australia is told to prepare now for the coming bushfire season. Oh goody. It's a bit like painting the Harbour Bridge, by the time you finish at one end you have to start again at the other. Anybody remembers post from 3rd of January? It was something like, first day of New Year World War III starts, second Australia is on fire, third day Pope hits woman, what will happen fourth day? And people were joking what terrible shit will happen, and now it's like worst year since 1939. Oh duck, a guy on there said COVID, back when it had just started. I remember reading a news article back in December about a new virus spreading in China and thinking that it was going to be local. Not sure if it was about COVID though. COVID has been around since November 2019 in China. My sister-in-law was warning everyone at Thanksgiving and Christmas last year to stock up on meat and a deep freezer. She isn't the insane type and works for VibeKid, which teaches Chinese students English. The children warned her about what was going down and she prepared, as did we. And look at that, my freezer is finally getting here on Wednesday. 2020 after seeing this post, write that down. Write that down. No kidding, why are we giving 2020 ideas? It's a trick, send no reply. Not sure, but the first 5 months feels like 5 years. Was talking to my wife about Hong Kong protests and Australia wildfires, and it seems like it was a couple of years ago. I'm watching the US to see how the elections are going. That could really give 2020 the cherry on top. We're on like the 6th era of 2020 by now. Remember Trump's impeachment trial, way back in the first era of 2020? Holy shit, was that this year? The trial began on January 16, 2020. Also in 2020, Kobe Bryant's death, and I think the Teapot Dome scandal. A double pandemic. You just had to ask, didn't you? You will go down in history as the person who jinxed humanity to annihilation. There will be no recorded history to go down in after an annihilation. We'll be scratching Op's name into the walls of our underground cave dwellings as we slowly drift into extinction. 20 million years later, the beaver folk, the new dominant intelligent beings on the planet, will bat their tails on the floor in excitement at evidence that once other beings walked the earth, and will conclude they died out through lack of dams. This is the future I'm living for. Calling it now, the second half of 2020 is going to be the best comeback in history, starting with a Rocky IV montage. A massive meteorite hitting the Earth at a time of heightened tensions between India and China, and is mistaken for a nuclear attack, causing a full-on exchange of nukes between the two. Then the US, Pakistan and possibly Russia would get involved, and if Pakistan gets involved, India would launch an attack towards Pakistan. And forgot about the US-Russia conflict. Yeah, it's not gonna go well. Confirmation that the UG-99 stem rust has spread beyond East Africa, the Middle East to multiple points in Europe, East Asia, and the Americas, permanently threatening the global supply of wheat. Global food shortage is one of those things I have heard about and just kind of pushed to the side in my mind because it's too scary to think about. Exactly like I used to do with pandemics. COVID-20? If pandemics are a once in 100-year thing, there's 1,100 chance another one starts this year. I don't like those odds. Still got second and third waves to come yet. We've had one, yes. But what about second pandemic? I don't think they know about second pandemic. Surplus check hits me in the head. Yellowstone. At least for the USA, for my country, Jacob Zuma somehow makes it back. Yellowstone caldera blowing would mess up more than the US. Large portion of the world would be ducked. Yeah, mass refugees from the US, not to mention ducked world economy and rapid climate change. Whole world would suffer. Likely worldwide famine. Krakatoa in Indonesia blowing during the 19th caused some crops to fail in the US. Yellowstone blowing would essentially start a very short ice age. Global warming plus ice age, pleasant temperature, right? Right? Yep, that's the plan. If global warming gets too bad, we just blow up Yellowstone ourselves and it's gonna nullify the other effect. All the dead people would help reduce the carbon footprint too. Okay, Thanos. I live in LA and today I was thinking the universe could truly duck us by finally having the big one strike this summer. But I guess that's just regional and not more awful shit for the entire world. Diarrhea. Widespread, infectious and without warning. All the toilet paper hoarders, look who's laughing now. 3 ancient men found frozen in a pillar in a cavern, with strange masks made of stone scattered around the place. A man-shaped statue falls to earth, who then immediately joins forces with a blonde vampire with a body like 3 linebackers put together. And has an equally buff psychic partner who freezes time. Today is the beginning of hurricane season. Portals to Oblivion. Yay 2 Bethesda series in 2020. The return of dragons after centuries. And so the will turns upon the last dragonborn. Several X-class solar flares that completely destroy global telecommunications, household electronics, and power grids all over the world, thereby knocking humanity back to the Stone Age. Insert whatever time period you think would best suit the scenario, 1950s, 1900s, 1800s, etc. Wait, maybe that wouldn't be such a bad thing to have happen. Edit, several people seem to be focusing on the Stone Age part of the above statement. If it makes all of you feel better about this hypothetical scenario, I have struck out the Stone Age part, and left it up to the end user to decide how this scenario plays out. It would be closer to Mad Max, wouldn't it? Gas power would still work. True, mechanical systems would still function. Problem is, so much of our infrastructure is computerized and electrical that losing all of it at once would be quite catastrophic. Goodbye, Reddit.